Why?
Alright, we've just gone live. Alright, I shall link this to the server. Alright, we've got the timer going. 19 entrants. It looks like we're down Alfa Romeo this evening. Knuckles is the Alfa Romeo that's there, so the missing Alfa Romeo will be KB, it seems. If there's anyone in chat, please let us know how the audio is.
I've been waiting for my PlayStation to stop burring before I mute myself.
Alright, good afternoon, evening, morning, depending on where you are around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 5th round of Season 2 in the Coleslaw Cup. I'm Elmer Jacko. I'm joined in the commentary box once again by Will Ans. How are you going today, Will?
Hola, amigo. I'm good, dude. Let's go.
Let's go indeed.
Portugal.
Well, as you say, it is Portugal. The Portuguese Grand Prix, I don't think we had it last season from memory, so no prior data to work with. But we do have 19 drivers here this evening, and that includes the reserve, who's won the past 2 races, Ryan Rodds, who's now a full-time driver at Ferrari, a partnership with Scornsey that's super ferocious for the rest of the field to face. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen such a strong team, full-time that is. So it'll be quite a challenge to beat Ferrari, and of course Ferrari are the reigning Constructors champions, so that might be back-to-back Constructors titles for the Maranello squad. Always a bit early to make that sort of prediction though, so we'll put that on the back burner for now. But yeah, it's Ryan Rodds that we're on board with right now, and we'll get rid of this menu here. And yeah, he's won the past 2 races. The only other driver to win races this season so far is Lightwork. He won the opening 2 races. Lightwork remains the championship leader, having attended all 4 races, as Dunk leaves the session. If you can get him on the invite there, Will, that would be quite helpful, I think. So yes, only 2 drivers have won a race out of the 4 races so far, both of them with 2 wins. Ryan Rodds is second in the championship currently. Third it's Lanzi, and right behind Lanzi is Scornsey, who's probably had a bit of a quiet start to the season by most accounts. Runner-up, of course, last season, and many thought would be the favourite this season. So we'll look to see Scornsey pick up a bit better results than he has in the past 2 weeks, with 9th and 10th, quite amazingly. Or 10th and 9th, I should say, the other way around, to avoid confusion, in Australia and China. It just went horribly wrong for him. I think last week there was contact in the second turn, which gave him damage at both ends. Of course, you can't repair damage to the rear in this game, so not ideal for him whatsoever. But we do have some laps going here right now. We've got a first sector purple for Ryan Rodds in his Ferrari, nicely over the curb there on the exit of the hairpin. Through, I think this is 7 and 8. Can't quite remember my corner numbers around Portimao, but a very unloaded section here. Very easy to spin through what I believe is 8, and now flat through the next section. find a braking point over this crest, and it looks like he's nailed the apex quite nicely there. So it looks like we've got a driver really tuned into the track. It's always a very difficult track to tune yourself in at. He's got traffic in front of him though, so he'll hope that that doesn't balk him too significantly, although he may actually pick up a draft here, which would be very helpful to end the lap. Scavney goes to the top, briefly I'd say, because that's on a medium set of tyres. He's obviously gone for balance once again. That's his strategy as usual. And Ryan Rods does overtake that time by a significant margin. A 17.5 is very impressive, and it looked like he got a massive tow actually from, I think, Tweezer. Yeah, pretty confident that was Tweezer.
Yeah, he'd up going pretty quickly as well as he's approaching the final corner. Did set a purple sector 1, at least on the screen at the time. Could be a strong lap for him as well. Just wait and see if full traction control does indeed go burr around Portimao.
Indeed, across the line he comes, sets an 18.0, joins Ryan Rods on the front row for now. There is a 5/10 gap there for anyone to slot in between. Looks like he might be going again, although his ERS is kind of low to be doing that. Maybe just rushing back to the pits. We're on board with Dace now as he comes through the first complex of corners. I think he's just started his lap, so this might be a good one to stay on board with. Nice and easy through that. I think that's turn 4 there. Can be quite an easy corner to lose the rear on. Uses the DRS down towards the hairpin. Chooses 4th gear to exit the corner in. Very low gear to choose. Sorry, very high gear to choose and low revs. So maybe he was worried about wheel spin, but manages it quite nicely. 4th gear again, exit of 8.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first spin that Dace had, so it does make sense to be cautious, I suppose.
He's finally learning. I think I had a collision with Dace at this track many seasons ago in Midwest. So he'll be looking to avoid something similar and probably lock down another good result. Dace, where did he come last week? Oh, 2nd. Great result for him last week. So looking to join us in the commentary box for some questions again in the post-race interview, as he did last week. He's coming to cross the line right now, and it's only 11th for Dace.
Yeah, that's not good for him, but it is a banker lap, so can't be too critical as of yet. Perhaps he's finally learned that you don't have to push 105% on your first lap on qualifying.
This is true. VTEC looks like he's one of the few drivers on track at the time. He improves but only finds a 20.1 on mediums for 14th place. Quicker only than his teammate currently. The 4 drivers at the bottom have yet to set a lap time. That includes both McLaren teammates of Galloway and Jonathan Dunk, who are either in the pits or on an out lap currently, which leave maybe Lanzi, I think. No, Lanzi's not on a lap currently. Oh, he just set a lap actually, so he's gone 3rd place in the Alpine. Many cars in the pits. We'll just jump on board with on an out lap. Probably light work, seeing as he's down the bottom currently, and we'll be looking to shoot up to somewhere in the top 5, I would imagine. I'm going to have a quick look at the times from the most recent Portuguese qualifying session I can think of.
And that boy with the drippy shell coming through sector 2. You get through the right hander without spinning. You can't. I do hate that corner. That one uphill right hander, sector 2. And it's got to climb a few spins in the race.
Does have a nasty habit of grabbing people. As AW is disqualified. Blocking the pit lane,
Can't
so
park
that must...
there, mate. I know
Wow.
I can't park there. Well, he's gotten disqualified for it, so there we go.
Okay, so that's big news, because AW had a time that was 2nd. So he's been demolished from the front row. Lightweight currently has a purple first sector, by the way. Looking at the previous time a Portuguese Grand Prix was held, as Lightwork is bitten by your favourite corner. Round he goes.
Called it.
Shelley actually...
himself P5 that lap.
Well, as I'm saying, Shelley had a 17.4 last time we came here. That was not in Coleslaw Cup, that was in East Coast. And that was pole position, so he's a second off that time, more than a second off that time, and that time would actually be pole currently. So if he can dig deep and find that time once again, he might find himself up the top. Also got, well, let's see, Sharia had an 18.2 in that session. He's actually relatively close to that already. Again, not sure if the conditions are perfect. This is set to cloudy, I believe, is the forecast. I may have misread that. Either way, that was relatively recent, so there shouldn't have been any patches between. So I'd imagine times to tumble, possibly close to the 16s.
Be interesting to see. I don't know. Well, it's going to take some big improvements as well from the guys at the front to get some really fast times. We'll see if anyone can do it. Jonathan Dunk can, and he's just starting his lap now.
Getting some behind the scenes news, and A-Dub says this has been manipulated, man. Sounding exactly like Lewis Hamilton. So A-Dub, yeah, as you can probably guess, not pleased with the situation, and I would tend to agree with him. That was for blocking the pit lane, and it looked like from the map a Mercedes was blocking the exit rather than the entry to the pit lane.
Yeah, it said exit on the disqualification. Jonathan Dunk's man in the first sector as well, so his lap is out of the window. He's kind of under a little bit of pressure, honestly, for getting a lap in.
Yeah. Apologies for not having the camera on the action for a bit there, as I was looking some things up, but we're about to see Ryan Rodds on his second attempt here, I believe. Unless, hang on, this is a really long lap. Oh, it must have been an out lap, okay. Across the line he comes, opens the DRS. Gonna go down a little valley here. Kind of makes the braking into turn one a bit awkward, and there's an Alpha Tauri getting out of the way just about, but I think that balked Ryan enough for him to go off the track there. We'll see if he continues the lap. I'm not actually sure. I think he is continuing, so that must not have been... We know it's not invalid, but it certainly looked like he might lose some time, and yeah, he's 7 tenths down. So she'll change to Lanzi, who's 5.5 tenths up on his previous time. That'll put him right on top of Ryan's lap time. This should be quite close. By the time he crosses the line, we'll see. We'll stay on board with this one. Ryan did pick up a bit of a slipstream on that first lap though. So I'm going to guess this stays second for Lanzi. Indeed it does, very close. But the Dutchman sees himself more solidly, let's say, on the front row. Smithpell's off track, getting out of the way, but he is third currently, which would be the best qualifying position for him of the season so far. I don't think that lap time quite beats what his teammate did have before he was disqualified, but still not bad for the Mercedes driver. Easy Rider Yoi now finds himself up on the second row of the grid. And getting out of the way, it seems. Dace has found P8, but now is invalid. Scornsy's 8 tenths up. Now this is more like it. This might put him somewhere in the 17s. Probably third, unless he's found improvements in the last sector. And there is third place, making it Ferrari 1 and 3. Provisionally, let's say. Jonathan Dunk does actually register a lap time, puts it 8th for McLaren there. 18.5, nothing to be scoffed at. And Galloway, his teammate, also has a lap time now in 12th for the moment. Lightwork now, the only driver without a lap time, sitting 18th and in the pits, so probably only going to have one attempt. And that's not ideal for someone that you might expect on the front two rows. Who do we have on a lap here?
Scornsy on a hot lap.
Is he? He just set one though. No, he's 5 tenths down.
Unless that's a lap.
Slayer's not on one either.
Nicky might be. Invalid. Hard to tell with Nicky.
Why is that? He's 2.5 tenths up through the first sector, so we'll stay on board with the Aston Martin driver here, sporting a Vettel-esque helmet, albeit with a different stripe set. Through 8 has a bit of a wiggle, catches it though. Not quite as big of a loss of grip as his teammate earlier in the session. The Aston Martin now flowing through this second sector, finds the apex quite nicely. Going to break the beam for the second sector split with 6/10 advantage on his previous time, which he's looking to grab maybe 3 or 4 positions here, possibly trouble the top 10. If he finds 6/10, that would be pretty much right on Dace's time, which is 10th currently. Let's see what he does. Opening the DRS right there, and in fact finds a bit more than that. Goes 8th. Pretty good lap there for Nicky, you'd say.
Yeah,
Slayer is also up.
Hot laps as well.
Yeah, feel free to take this one to the finish there, Will.
Yeah. So they had these really good offer on these like really fancy puff pastry mince pies. Beautiful. Cross the line. P8 beats Nicky. That's all that really matters.
We've got a plethora of 18.4s there, from Dusty in 6th down to 9th place Nicky. So, you know, find a 10th, you might find yourself 2 rows of positions here on the grid. Very close through the midfield.
This Reinrod's on a hot lap. He's just gone purple in sector 1.
Alright, we will jump on board. Yeah, he is 800ths up on his own time. Double right-hander here. Does he keep the rear in check? Yeah, uses 4th gear to do so, and it looked very neat through there, in fact. Flat out through the next sequence here, and then another double right. Well, only one apex, so technically a single right, but does not keep the rear there. And Emirates sign is, well, it was lucky for a moment, but demolished in the end. So we'll jump on board now with his teammate, who's on an outlap, so we'll move on swiftly. Dusty might be coming to the end of a lap, or to start a lap. I think it's to start a lap. Yep, they've got an AlphaTauri now deploying a lot of ERS down towards turn 1. Obviously, you'd be deploying ERS in a hot lap. Doesn't quite apex turn 1, but it looked relatively neat enough. Oh, no apex there either. We'll see if he's up by the end of the first sector, but it didn't look perfect there for the Canadian.
Another driver catching my eye here in the standings as well. Smith Pell is having a good session so far from P4. As Reinrod's retires in the pits, he will not be taking any further involvement.
Yep, Dusty's done with his time as well. He realised he'd missed a few apexes and went deep into the hairpin, so that was gone. Maybe he'll be recharging for the next lap. Fellow Canadian though, Smith Pell, as you mentioned, doing fairly well. Currently 5th on the grid here, as Sharia actually has taken over P4 for the moment. Smith Pell had a nice sector there and finds himself improving by 600th of a second. Gets the braking point right for the hairpin. Blasts his way up the hill towards double right-hander. Has a nice amount of grip there as well. Let's see if it stays with him. Not quite. He loses the rear as well, and the lap is gone. Unfortunate. But better than his teammate for the moment, who got absolutely destroyed by Michael Massey.
Yeah, and Dusty's starting a hot lap as well now, I believe. Just about to cross the line to begin his lap.
Absolutely. So he watched the previous attempt, but he's going for it again. Let's see what he can manage. First corner was slightly better that time. See if he can hook up this next braking point. Might have locked up a little bit, but found the apex. VTEC's done with the session.
Go retiring as well.
And there is an improvement for Dusty through the first sector. Dace also improves though by the end of the lap, finds himself 4th on the grid for the moment, 18.2. Oh, there goes the rear as well for Dusty. Big time, in fact, does more than the 360.
Advanced tyre warming strategies there by the Canadian.
That's an invalidation there for Nicky on his final attempt. So that is done.
Yeah, Jonathan Dunk is up on his time, but not by too much, maybe by just enough to take him possibly up to P9, maybe P8, but...
Yeah, let's say
sure
9?
We will
wow,
see.
okay,
Oh, no,
finds a
never
lot
mind.
more than
6th.
that.
Okay, he found a lot through the last corner. Took it up to an improvement of nearly 2/10. Light work as well. Doesn't have a time set. He started his lap. It's about 22.4. So
Really hoping
far.
not to be blocked by his teammate here though. Nicky is out of the way. Pressure massively on light work here. Doesn't want to be starting at the rear of the grid, especially without a lap time, which means you're not eligible for the hard charger point. Finds a purple sector though.
Could be a glitch.
Oh, clips
sure,
the curve on turn in and almost has a head on there with his teammate. Finds reverse
and
though,
Nicky
which is kind of helpful.
Gets to not be the Aston Martin facing backwards for first time.
Yeah. Alright, is anyone else on a lap? Potentially Smith Pell here. Looks to be kind of slow. I think that might be the end of the session in terms of improving times. So big surprises there. 18th and 19th. Light work, championship leader, winner of 2 races. Sets a lap time importantly, so is eligible for the hardest charger point. And likely will get it now if he finishes the race with a 28.7.
Would that not have to be a...
Does that have to be within 107%? I don't know. I mean, he was definitely trying, he just spun. So, well, either way, he finds himself 18th on the grid. A-Dub definitely can't get the hardest charger point. Last on the grid. Horrendous sessions for both of those guys. Tweezer, ever improving, let's say, because he's been struggling in recent weeks. Seconds at times off the back of the pack. Less than a tenth off the back of the pack now. So, encouraging signs, I'd say, for the Haas driver. Moving up through the field, I think Shelley and Scavney are also surprises to be that low. Shelley did a 17.4 only 2 months ago at this track. So, very surprised to not see him in the top 5 at least. Yeah, well, it's a weird session. I'm going to guess that the conditions were not ideal, because my time from 2 months ago was also a 17.5, so I would imagine something was holding the guys back this particular session. Anyway, we've got Ryan Rods on pole again. Lanzi with another front row effort, only 25 thousandths off pole position. Then it's Scornsey in the second Ferrari, such a strong team. Easy Rider Yoe with a fantastic effort to join Scornsey on the second row. Then it's Dace, Galloway, Sharia and Jonathan Dunk. Smith Pell and Dusty, the Canadians, rounding out the top 10. Slayer, Nicky, Shelley, Scavney, VTech, Knuckles, Tweezer, Lightwork and A-Dub round out the remainder of the grid. Wow. Alright, so I got some comments here. Tweezer saying it's a fast bunch of people. I think we knew that already, Tweezer, but for sure, it is a true statement. Looks like Shelley waited too long to set his hot lap, so I'm not sure exactly what he means by that, other than it didn't go perfectly for him. Oh, I see, he wanted to go around and cross the line at the latest possible second, and he missed it by 2 seconds. So that's unfortunate for Shelley. We know he had a lot more in the bag there. What else have we got here? Oh, well wishes as well to Cam Tizzle, who appears to have COVID, which is awful. Wish him well and he gets over that as soon as possible, as we wait for this 5th round of the season. Any predictions here, Will, for the winner and maybe the podium?
It's. I mean, I do this every single week. It's just so hard to call it every single week because anybody can win it. It's hard to look past Ryan Rods, but that would be boring. I don't know if Lanzi can do it, honestly. And Scornsey's looked a little bit shaky compared to his normal self, anyway. So, I mean, you know, TLDR, Sharia's going to win.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Sharia's going to win the race. Well, I'm going to reiterate what you said. Ryan has been on absolute form recently, so betting against him would be kind of silly. But Lanzy's also been on great form, and I think I might go with the Dutchman this time. I know it's a hat-trick potential here for Ryan, but you know, with Netherlands getting through, Lanzy's on a streak. I think Lanzy maybe has a shout this time. Scornsy, as you say, has been looking kind of off the boil recently, which is really surprising. But to say off the boil means P3 pace is just saying something about the guy. He's always up there, you know. And even if he doesn't win a race, scoring points will be what he does, and I'm sure we'll find him at the top step of the podium at some point this season.
I can imagine we might get a few 1-2s, honestly, with that Ferrari team being so stacked.
Absolutely, but what does intrigue me will be if they're in a battle and the safety car or rain comes, because stacking is a problem with people who are similar pace, and that would be fascinating.
There's one person with a little bit of lag in the background that I think I caught. Not 100%. There seems to be an Alpine round as well. Of Lanzy.
Alright, well, we better have a quick...
take bets on what lap Dace will bottle it. At least bottle it for the first time.
I mean, lap 4 is the obvious shout on that one.
Lap 4.
But before we go further
I'll
than
trust
that...
in Dace. I'll go lap 6.
Okay, fair enough. 4 and 6. But let's just point out right now that there's only one person on soft tyres, and it's Scornsy. So he's going maximum attack early. We've got a lot of mediums throughout the field, but also a fair few hards. Both McLarens, 6th is the highest hard we've got there for Galloway. Also Jonathan Dunk, Scavney, VTEC, Lightwork and ADub. Probably expected those two to be on hards. But Scornsy, the only driver on softs. A bold...
It's going to be interesting to see. Strategy, I'm not 100% sure around here if you're always thinking of 1 stop here, or if 2 stop is a viable strategy. I'm not 100% on that, because I think in that event maybe Scornsy will be looking at the 2 stop perhaps, but not 100% sure.
We got a sideways AlphaTauri. Who would that be? Couldn't quite tell. They went to the even number, so it must be Dusty there who got seriously on the loud pedal there as he tried to do a bit of a burnout.
Just having an epic Canadian moment, don't worry about it. A-Dub pulling up into his grid spot.
Alright, 33 laps of Portimao.
Very conservatively,
about
let's
to
go.
begin.
So we go, we wait for the lights.
We hope they do, they might get a jump start.
We wait very patiently for the lights.
We continue to wait for the lights.
We wait ever so patiently for the lights.
Ah, here they are.
3, 4 and 5. And it's lights out and away we go. Ryman's with an incredible start compared to Lanzy at least. Scornsy's already passed him into turn 1. It's a Ferrari 1-2 thus far.
Yeah, Lanzy's actually lost out to Dace as well.
A bad start, losing all heaps of positions, but he's going to come back at Dace. Down the inside, Dace is not going to have an answer for that. We've got a McLaren round. That's going to be Jonathan Dunk, who has been entangled a little bit there with Knuckles. Smith Pell getting past M. Galloway. Sharia Coleslaw losing a tiny bit of ground on his teammate Easy Rider Yoey. As down the inside goes M. Galloway. That's a big lunge into the side pod of the AlphaTauri. He goes using Slayer as his brake before he then spins and takes himself off the course completely.
It's 3 wide up there.
Anyway,
as
back to
they
the
sort
racing.
themselves
Dusty,
out.
A-Dub, Scavney,
Jeez.
all side by side. Scavney coming out on top of that one. A-Dub just behind Dusty as well, who's going to give a little tap to Scavney as he just gets a little bit better traction. Knuckles getting past M. Galloway. He's had an absolute nightmare at the start. Scornsy all over the back of Ryan Rods as well. Dusty looking to maybe make
Over
a move
and
on the
under action
outside.
here,
Switches it midway through the corner. Fantastic move there on Scavney. A-Dub maybe looking to get opportunistic as well. That was the tyre advantage as well there, the medium over the hard. Slayer is trying to put some pressure onto Sharia Coleslaw as well, looking to try and make up a position earlier on. Scornsy obviously wants to use the benefit of those soft tyres to maybe try and get ahead of his teammate and then pull a gap if he can.
A-Dub's looking to make a move on Scavney towards turn 1, falls out of the slipstream, has used a bit of ERS to make it work, and Galloway gets a speeding penalty for, well, entering the pits too fast, I guess, to replace a front wing, and it looks like we got stacking going on at McLaren on the first lap.
Yeah, not great for McLaren.
Awful luck for that. In fact, did he even change his wing?
And I wonder also if Swansea made a mistake there as well, because the gap actually went all the way up to 9/10 of a second between P1 and P2.
I have a horrible feeling that they did not change the wing on Galloway's car and he wanted them to. Yeah, he may not have chosen to be changing the wing with a yes.
He doesn't have any visible damage.
But it was a quick pit stop, so
bad.
Why would you pit otherwise? Unless it was a puncture.
We can check this though. This is the interesting thing. We can check this if it doesn't glitch out and refuse to open the menu.
So A-Dub is the one with the most positions gained so far, with 7 positions off the line. 12th place currently, on the back of Dusty, who's also challenging VTEC.
And yes, Jonathan Dunk got a wing change and M. Galloway did not, so yeah, that would be a rather frustrating one.
Dusty with a run on VTEC here, pulls to the inside.
There's a change for the lead, Scornsey gets past Ryan Rodds, who tries to come back at him into turn 3. I couldn't quite tell. It didn't look entirely right, but also I feel like Ryan Rodds wouldn't give the position up. VTEC and A-Dub still swapping positions. Scornsey running a tiny little bit wide.
Just very aggressive move there from VTEC to the inside. Didn't lunge or anything, but it looked like a cat grabbed his wheel and just made him go left all of a sudden. It was kind of wild. Either way, he remains 12th. A-Dub has gained another position since I mentioned his... And
M. Galloway back in the pits as well.
Forward exploits. Yeah, I think that is replacing the wing. Terrible luck there for both McLarens. They're needing a safety car to get back into this race. They were 6th and 8th on the grid or something like that, so that's gone horribly wrong for them. Ferrari though, they're long-time rivals with a fantastic start to the race. 1st and 2nd currently, although...
Scornsey running very wide as well through the last corner, not too sure what goes on there. Ryan Rod's surely got to be making his position up pretty easily. On Scornsey, he's not going to be able to have any sort of defence. He will have the DRS down the next straight though. They've already caught up to M. Galloway.
Yeah.
Whose race is essentially over now.
Lanzi is on the back of these two, hoping to sort of tag along. The DRS is also available to both Ryan and Lanzi at this point, but not to Dace, importantly. Dace has Easy Rider Yowie and Sharia for company, almost Slayer as well. Actually, Slayer does just about get into that 1 second window. And Smith Pell is with Slayer, as we've got yellow flags, still for the McLaren. Yeah, it's gone heavily wrong.
Penalty as well, when he was trying to let everybody by. His race is essentially over. A-Dub is still trying to put some pressure on Dusty, and oh man, I would not want to be in an orange car out there today.
Yeah, there's been rumblings of a McLaren curse elsewhere, but it's potentially jumped ship here to the Coleslaw Cup, because that is just awful luck. Awful luck. In fact, I might go look into the last season's history to see what happened with McLaren, but I don't have any recollection.
Scornsey unable, even with DRS, to mount a challenge for the lead into turn 1. We have what looks like it might be Scavney having an issue there. He got a spin at the last corner, dropped all sorts of positions. He's going to actually end up in a drag race here with Knuckles on the run down to turn 1. A drag race that I don't think he's going to be able to win, and he has to back out there as well and settle for P17, so not great there for the Pennsylvanian.
So McLaren actually were the second worst team last season, so didn't have any top 5s. So yeah, maybe McLaren's got some troubles here in the Coleslaw Cup as well as the Midwest Division 1 curse. Yellow flags. Yeah, that is
That's
okay,
for
the retiring
car that
McLaren, yeah.
retiring in the pit.
A bit of a wide moment there for Ryan. We'll put him under pressure by the time the DRS is deployed by Scornsy behind.
Yeah, I think this should be a pretty easy pass here for Scornsy, although Ryan Moss is using the ERS a little bit there through the last corner to defend and try and get the exit. Scornsy seems to not quite have the same amount of grip for that last corner. I'm not sure how it is. It's cool, why that is happening.
Likely to be a setup
perhaps
thing.
he does just try to take a different line, but yeah, it is most likely to be a setup thing, I'd imagine. He just can't get near Ryan Moss down that straight. As Slayer Rides gets past Sharia Coleslaw, that's been looking like it might be coming
Honda
for a couple of
engines
laps.
swap positions. Sharia had fallen out of the
Dusty,
DRS
light
from
work
his
getting past
teammate.
Tweezer.
Yeah, so Slayer there in the middle of a Red Bull sandwich. Triple Honda engine manoeuvres going on there.
Dusty might be looking to try and get past AW, but he's going to be too far behind as well as we go down this straight.
That would be a repass because AW has made that position on Dusty.
He got him down the straight.
Yeah, well, we've got a problem there. Who was that? It's Shelley, I think, recovering. He is super far off the track.
Full course safety car.
Yeah, okay, so Shelley has had, well, his wing has been deposited in the wall. How he's ended up there, I'm not quite sure. I can only hazard guesses. I would say that someone has been involved in a collision with him. That is how Dace ended up in that wall a few seasons ago in Midwest with me. But yeah, I didn't really see what happened. Did anyone...
And the first pit stop under the safety car will be Jonathan Dunk boxing for the hard tyre.
Now that's it. Okay, if he gets out in front, that's fine. I was going to say that's a terrible decision to pit and maybe get trapped a lap down, but everyone else seems to be following.
Is this a little bit naughty from Scornsy? Are you allowed to back up like that? I'm pretty sure it's not allowed exactly in the rules. They were pretty close to each other, and by the time they entered the pit, the gap between P1 and P2 was almost 3 seconds. Scornsy very obviously backing up to try to reduce the disadvantage gained from
Personally, I think
stack.
It's just a good idea to do that from Scornsy's perspective, but that's a stewarding call. That's not a call that I'm going to make for anyone. But yeah, it was so key to be the lead Ferrari, and that's what I was saying on the formation lap. When you have some Alpines change position there, I'm not sure if that was orchestrated. But yeah, when you stack, it's going to affect the car behind, and when you have such a strong pair, Scornsy and Ryan Rods, one of them was always going to be stacking in a scenario like this. Scornsy loses out not only to Lanzi but also to Scavney. He probably would have been ahead of Scavney otherwise. Scavney, I believe, did not pit. I'll check that. Yeah, I did not pit. So, yet to pit. Leader, AW, who started last. VTEC, who started towards the back. Lightwork, who started second last, third. So, those guys are on hards. It makes sense to stay out because you probably can't get any other tyre to the end. Scavney in the same boat. Knuckles on the mediums chooses not to pit. I mean, the mediums can go much further into the race as well.
I'd also like to say we took our predictions before the race. Can confirm that it is lap 6 that Dace picked up a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane under safety car. So that one's 1 point to Gryffindor right there.
Okay, as long as it's just 1 point to Gryffindor, I won't mention that we didn't shake on it. But anyway, you are right. Dace picked up a 5-second penalty there so needlessly under safety car. So that's going to affect him quite badly. In fact, VTEC now enters the pits a lap late. Maybe second guessing his strategy idea. Smith Pell joins him in the pit lane. Not sure on the reasoning behind another pit stop there for Smith. Let's see if he changes the wing.
VTEC's too scared that he's too high up the field. He's like,
There's no wing change there for Smith. So what tyre does he put on here? A hard. Okay. So not sure what his reasoning was there. I will quickly have a look at the race director to see what he's been on. Okay, so he's gone medium, medium, hard. So he may have had that glitch which sometimes puts you on the wrong tyre and wanted to rectify that. Which makes sense. These drivers can now legally go to the end. Anyone from Dace back can legally go to the end. as well as Scornsy, Lanzi and Ryan.
And what would you think the chances are of that? Probably pretty high, right? I'd imagine that those hards are going to be quite resilient,
Oh yeah.
as they do tend to be.
Yeah, the hards are very resilient around here, and the pit transit is reasonably long. It's no Silverstone, of course, but it's not one that you want to be making another stop. Certainly not one that you can make a two-stop work, especially when there's been a safety car. Unless, of course, there's another safety car, in which case, sure, many of these drivers might come in for softs if it's late, or a set of mediums perhaps if you're towards the back, but track position will be key other than that. And safety car is coming in this lap. Jonathan Dunk will be very happy that he caught the field. And A-Dub's going to be our leader here. We'll jump on board with Ryan probably, since...
And Ryan narrowly misses the collision there with the light work. They speed up and slow down, and I think that's A-Dub gone early.
Yeah, actually catches Ryan out quite severely. But even worse is Lanzi, who's nowhere.
Gaps. Scornsy gets a good jump on Scavney, but Scavney's running at lower wings, it would seem. Scornsy's still probably going to be able to send it down the inside and get the move done. On
Scavney's still there.
Scavney trying to hold it around the outside.
It's a really nice, actually, really nice battle here, but I think that around the outside will come Scornsy here. Pinches Scavney to the apex. No, where is Scornsy here? A bit behind.
Side by side, but Scavney has the edge.
Later braking for the Ferrari though. He needs to get this move
Scornsy
done.
tries to
oh, where's Scavney gone?
Scavney decides he wants to go home. Yeah.
Also up in the background is Shelley.
Somewhere on the left. Shelley not content with just causing the one safety car. He's going for the brace.
So Scavney's lost 10 positions in that.
Knuckles.
Yeah.
Well, Rymod's all over light work. He might make a move actually into this.
A bit of a lunge.
He goes down the inside.
Going to be contact. Lightwork gives him his space. Lightwork still on the right hand side. It's very close. Neck and neck. A-Dub more than a second ahead at this point. No DRS of course at this stage.
Always get nervous when you see the two cars go so close together at such high speeds, because especially in this game, one little tap and it can be absolutely disastrous.
Pretty unique move there by Ryan Rods. You don't see that too often around the outside of the last two corners.
A nice little battle as Nicky gets passed by the goat.
Yeah,
Ryan eager to reel A-Dub in there as well, I'm sure now.
Yeah, VTEC the only driver to change to mediums in that pit stop cycle. The only other driver on mediums currently started on them. That's Knuckles in P8. And looks like Ryan Rod is already off in pursuit.
With a dive around the outside of Slayer, right? He's going to try and hold that, come into the next complex of corners, but I think Slayer just got the better exit. Sharia looks still to the inside though, he's not giving up.
Jonathan Dunk also made a move on Scavney in the background.
Sharia was not giving in like a rudimental song, but it just didn't quite work out for him. He's under a little bit of pressure now actually from Dusty, who is no slouch.
Lanzi also
getting
progressing.
past light work as well.
Oh my god, it's all happening. Slayer went wide, lost. I think he went for a move on Knuckles actually, but lost out to
Sharia. He made a little bit of contact there as well with Lanzi as he got wobbly.
AlphaTauri on AlphaTauri shenanigans around the outside. Oh, big problem there for Dusty.
Oh,
in a place I've not seen.
Lucky that there's such an incredible amount of runoff there.
He absolutely swappered himself there. Don't think there was actually contact with his teammate, but luckily for him doesn't hit anything and can continue.
Good
but
work, good team there from Tweezer as well. He's just let
off the track is Smith
Pell
Pell, facing the wrong way currently. Didn't catch what happened to him either. But yep, Dusty now 17th. Calamity for those two guys within the space of one straight, basically.
And I think
more cars are off. We've got a Haas and an Aston Martin. Nicky and Tweezer having some issues at the hairpin. Again, couldn't tell what happened. It's all happening too fast to keep up with.
Lightwork's dropping like a stone as well. There's so much going on. I'm not sure exactly what happened there for Lightwork.
I'm going to guess Lightwork got sideways at 8, at least sideways, if not around completely, because he was
lost position of pace and Yowie. My mods should be looking at making a move for P1 again here. It looks like he's going to be pretty much uncontested for this race win if he doesn't bottle it himself or get unlucky with the late safety car, because that double stack has given him such a big advantage over Sconesy now.
Here comes the DRS, but A-Dub's got a reasonable amount of straight line speed, but not as much ERS to play with. So even if the move isn't done here,
it's going to be too
it will
far
likely
back
be done
here.
at some point. Nicky's
well
around
Nicky.
again. So 18th place for Nicky. Down the inside
And
now
down the
goes
inside
Ryan. A-Dub
Ryan.
completely
he
out of the
may
way.
even keep the DRS as well. No, he won't, because
Almost found the right
point.
rear, sorry, the left rear of the Ferrari.
And that's a very good move there from Ryan Rods.
I actually think Ryan may have scared A-Dub out of the way there. Like he just was hard left when he didn't need to be that far. I think that's one thing A-Dub can work on. He probably can get a bit closer to other cars, but I guess his approach is safety first, which makes sense, especially as a driver who's on a different strategy. So we'll play the fair enough card on that one.
Past VTEC there as well.
Yep, Slayer kind of yo-yoing at the moment. Got some sideways moments, losing some positions, but then regathering himself quite nicely as well. So good effort by the AlphaTauri man. Who was I on board with for a second there? That was his 14th. Not sure.
And just like that, we can breathe.
Yeah, for the moment, it is all happening here. Very low gripped surface, catching a lot of drivers out despite it being perfectly dry conditions. But there's going to be DRS here. The closest battle currently looks to be about 4/10 gap between Slayer and Knuckles. And Knuckles is kind of wide there, but probably he's going to have DRS. Not sure if he was with. No, he didn't get DRS. So here comes Slayer to make another move on the same lap. Well, actually, the second, well, within a lap, let's say, of his previous move, and gathers it quite nicely in turn 1. P9 for Slayer.
Not able to get the drive. Well, not able to get the exit onto the second straight there to try and mount a challenge against A-Dub. A little bit of dirty air, I think, having an effect as well. Light work trying to put the pressure on Easy Rider Yowie after that mistake that saw him drop those positions. I'm sure there is a noticeable grip advantage between 6 and 12 lap old hards, although I don't think it would be huge. Yowie needs to try and keep in that DRS from Day, so he is going to be vulnerable down that long back straight. Well, pit straight.
I think we might jump on board with Lanzi in preempting a pass here, because A-Dub has fallen to 2 seconds behind the leader, won't have DRS. Lanzi definitely will. He hasn't got trouble from behind for the moment, as Knuckles finds himself in trouble, losing a plethora of positions. Maybe 4 positions, I think, in one
and
go
here
there.
comes Lanzi. Moving to the inside, A-Dub has no answer for the straight line speed there from the Alpine with the DRS wide open.
Move on the inside.
Down
and
the next corner, and I think he could have made the move down the inside there if he wanted to get really racy, but also perfectly acceptable choice to play it safe and not go for that move, especially when you're on older tyres.
Yeah, on a different strategy. So it looks like we had some more moves down the field as well. Jonathan Dunk made a move on VTEC as well as I think Shelley on Scavney perhaps. So yeah, the DRS definitely making turn 1 moves the most popular this race. Not for lack of trying at other corners, including the last corner, which is kind of wild. And also the hairpin, which has gone wrong on a number of occasions for some drivers. Shelley here, 4/10 off the back of VTEC, will be looking to make a move, probably on the DRS straight, but VTEC at the moment does have DRS himself, so it might be kind of difficult. Dace again falling to about 2.5 seconds behind the car in front, struggling to stay with people, the Williams man. So possibly not the race he's after, especially with a 5-second penalty looming over his head. Oh, and there goes the rear for Shelley. Same corner he and I had contact with in a race 2 months ago. Can't come back on the track for a second here because there's cars coming. I think they just about avoided him. No safety car for his second spin of the race. But he's going to have to keep it
Dusty
careful
looks
here.
to get past Sweezer as well on the run down to turn 1. Should be an easy move there for the Canadian.
Smith blasts around the outside of Shelley as he still recovers.
Work down the inside at the hairpin as well on Easy Rider Yowie. That move's been coming for a few laps. And he's finally maybe going to get it done. Easy Rider's going to come back at him though. And he's going to try and hold it down the inside of this corner, but there's not much you can do when Lightwork can just sweep around the outside like that. Scornsy now into the DRS, well into the DRS on A-Dub, half a second between the Mercedes and Ferrari drivers.
Lightwork has significantly more ERS than Yowie at the moment, so that is unlikely to reverse itself anytime soon. We'll jump on board with Scornsy, as you mentioned, very close to the back of A-Dub, who has fallen outside of a second from the Dutchman ahead of him. In that melee, Knuckles did make his pit stop, by the way, so leaving only 2 drivers yet to make that pit stop. Big understeer for Scornsy, finds himself losing a tenth of a second.
Understeer through that final
I
corner
can't
there
quite
for
place
Scornsy.
what's going on there for him.
Every single lap, I'm going to have to ask him about that in the interviews, because that's
very strange.
interesting. Lightwork as well manages to find the DRS from Dace, which should definitely keep him safe from any attack that could come from Easy Rider Yowie behind.
Yeah, very helpful.
Who is struggling to keep within that second as it is. Of course, Dace with that 5-second time penalty as well, it's going to be a big disadvantage for him from the end of the race, I'd imagine.
Not many close battles at the moment. Maybe Shelley on Smith. Might have an opportunity into the hairpin depending on the wing settings of these 2 gentlemen. Doesn't look like he's close enough whatsoever though. Okay, maybe it's the 4/10 gap from A-Dub to
Scornsy all over the back of A-Dub now.
Yeah, again, understeer there for Scornsy, so...
Yeah, he just had to lift off. I don't know if you heard.
I did, yeah.
He had to give a little lift.
It does seem like
A-Dub gets himself a
his
little
front
bit
wing
wide
is
in the
not
entry.
as purchasing as it might need to be. This time, does he tuck himself up? Understeers again, but not super badly this time, as Ryan Rod sets the new fastest lap of the race.
He should get this done quite easily here. Not much A-Dub can do without any DRS to defend from Scornsy, and the Ferrari driver makes up the position and keeps it inbounds on the exit.
Yep, didn't need
Like
VAR for that
all
one.
over the back of the Flying Fish, who seems to be in a little bit more sinking than swimming at the moment. Which makes sense considering the fact that he can't actually swim.
They're going to be
Down
move
the
here for
inside,
sure.
could Lightwork look to go? Yeah. Dace can try and hold this around the outside, but he's going to see himself run just a little bit wide off the racing line, but not off the track.
Yeah,
Respectful
Lightwork
racing
placed the car
from
such
Lightwork.
that Dace had to be on the curb, and that takes a little bit of acceleration away from the potential of the car, and I think that was really well played there from Lightwork. Just forcing Dace into a position that wasn't ideal, and that was enough for him to get that purchase and go back fast, despite being on 6-lap older tyres.
Yeah,
However,
that's
does
exactly-
Dace have an opportunity to come straight back at him with DRS? I'd say probably not, because the ERS situation is kind of desperate there for Dace.
3-second time penalty there as well for Knuckles, not good for him. Jonathan Dunk pretty close to the back of Slayer Eyes as well, who in turn isn't too far away from Sharia, both within the DRS of each other.
Yep, also a bit of understeer on
Also
Jonathan
Shelley
Dunk's car there, but he's got
all
a
over the
big
back
run
also.
on Slayer ahead. Might be looking towards the inside here, last moment, yeah. Does he outbrake the AlphaTauri? Not quite, but there is room given, and down the inside he does go, taking P9. We'll have a quick
And
look.
Shelley might be
at
looking
Shelley
to make
here,
an overtake
yeah.
into turn 1,
But there's
this is the
DRS
issue
as
for
well
him, is
for
this
the car in
DRS
front.
train. Smith Pell with the DRS, even looking, I mean, Smith Pell looked more like he was going to make a move than Shelley was there. As they go through the first complex of corners, nobody looking to make any opportunistic dives down the inside. Those
Yeah,
Shelley,
perhaps the hairpin here.
Mi-
Oh no, a bit sideways
yeah,
for...
and that's
Yep, for
sideways
Smith.
for Smith Pell. That's going to aid Shelley in getting the run. He can look to go down the inside,
Careful not
maybe
to
even
outbrake
use
yourself.
Tweezer ahead to box Smith Pell in a little bit in the braking zone. Some decent position there as well from Shelley to do a similar thing to Lightwork,
Yep,
preventing
and
Smith
does make
Pell
the
from
move
getting
happen.
a perfect exit.
Dace with further penalty
Dace picks
time
up
now though.
another time penalty as Smith Pell outbreaks himself. He's going to lose a lot of ground there to Shelley. Doesn't get great traction either, and Shelley is going to be safe from getting repassed, I think, and Smith Pell's actually fallen out the DRS, at least for the this moment in time.
Shelley might be looking to go forward another position in a few
He
corners
should
time
be
here.
looking to get the move done. Yeah, as Easy Radio, he gets within the DRS range of Dace TG as well.
Yeah, VTEC also on the back of Slayer here. Looks like Slayer's flashing the ERS light, defends to the inside towards turn 1. Can they get a cut back here for VTEC? Not quite, but he does have a better tyre compound here. As wide for Slayer.
Not letting this one go. Slayer going wide.
Good traction though for the AlphaTauri. Let's see what happens towards the hairpin.
Yeah,
as Scornsey has actually improved his timing there to Lanzi massively. He was 2 seconds back, now within DRS.
We've done Shelley attacking Tweezder as well. He does the same thing that he did with Smith Pell, where he takes that wider line to try and maximise his entry. And it looks like it's going to work as he finds himself down the inside of the Haas driver as we approach the hairpin, and he's fully passed as well by the apex.
Tweezer's actually completely off the track.
Actually has to run wide.
Smith almost had a look at
put him under pressure from
coming back
Smith
past.
if Smith hadn't made that mistake and gotten himself a little bit further back from those guys after the initial overtake on him from Shelley.
Bit of a snap from Shelley, but he caught it quite nicely.
He's a snapping turtle.
Look further up the field here, we've got some yellow flags. Is that
and that's
Dusty? It is Dusty indeed.
No.
That is unfortunate. A-Dub now makes his mandatory pit stop. Sees the yellow flag, hopes it might be a VSC or a safety car, but it's not going to happen. Potentially a move here by VTEC. He swoops to the inside, but isn't anywhere near close enough to Slayer to make a lunge. A-Dub's going to emerge in 12th place, it looks like.
Jonathan Dunk might be looking at making a move here on Sharia Coleslaw. DRS open, ERS as well. He doesn't have much ERS and he's still using it, but Sharia doesn't have much either. Sharia placing his car in the middle of the road.
Tweezer was overtaken there as Dusty is out in the pit lane.
In the pit lane. It's unfortunate. You'd hope that he'd try and stick with it, but you know how it can be. It can be very demoralising when you make a mistake, and Jonathan Dunk almost makes a mistake. As I say that, he just manages to catch it through that right-hander where there is very little rear grip.
Yeah, Dusty had an up and down season so far. It's gone 14th, 8th, 2nd, 13th, and now a retirement. Not the ideal way to have round 5.
He may be the next in pit retirement as well. Not sure exactly what happened there, but he's lost a lot of ground. Scornsey trying to catch up to the back of Lanzi as well.
Yeah, Scornsey was a bit closer about half a lap ago, but lost a bit of time there, and I think in the last sector. But now re-clawing that margin in towards the Alpine.
Lanzi trying not to run wide there as well. You could see him making a conscious effort not to run wide.
Yeah, these guys only separated by 1 point in the standings at the moment, 51 and 50 points respectively in 3rd and 4th. They won't be catching Ryan Rods at this rate, who's on 78 points in 2nd, but we do have our championship leader on 91, way down in 4th place, only 1 position behind, but yet to make a pit stop. So we'll be falling down at some point, probably hoping for a safety car and an opportunity to jump on softs as late as possible, maybe. That's my guess. VTEC has jumped on the softs as we say that, currently 15th. Scavney also in the pits, gone for mediums, just like A-Dub.
Pressure from Jonathan Dunk as well, both of them with really low ERS in P7 and P8 respectively, but of course Sharia's not going to have DRS to defend, whereas Jonathan Dunk will have the DRS to attack.
Pit stop for Ryan Rods
as well, and in goes Ryan Rods.
So the hards may not make the end. Is that what we're learning here? Wow,
that's interesting. I mean, Ryan Rods does have the pace. I mean,
heavily surprising.
I think even if he comes out and Day speeds in the pit lane again because one mistake wasn't enough for him. Jonathan Dunk looking to try and get past Sharia. They move both to the inside and then over to the outside to take the optimal racing line into the corner. Jonathan Dunk runs wide, probably picks up a warning as well there for his troubles. And you've got to think Sharia will most likely survive this going into the next corner as well. It looks like if Dunk is going to get him, he has to get him down the straight or not. Maybe he can make a move here. Sharia positioning the car well, and Jonathan Dunk does still send it down the inside.
Around the outside.
Will just nail the traction there and survive for another lap.
So
you see, even with Ryan Rods having to overtake so many cars and being so far back, he's that quick. You still don't know. He makes a mistake there as well, actually. As I say, that gets a little bit of oversteer. Tweezer coming into the pits as well.
Okay, so Ryan has emerged here in 8th. He's got mediums that need to go 12 laps. We had light work, who started on these same tyres, he's still on. 21 laps, going to be 22 laps in a second. Or sorry, 23 in fact. So, the hards still clearly have that sort of longevity in them. Why has Ryan made this choice?
Yeah, I feel like this has to be a mistake. I mean, 19 seconds back from Lanzi with 10 laps remaining.
Unless he's gone out that hard that his wear was just too high.
Yeah.
We've got further trouble for someone in, looks like turn 8.
Scavney.
Yeah, Scavney, that would be.
Sconesy all over with Lanzi as this fight for P2 suddenly becomes maybe a fight for the win. Jonathan Dunk still trying to get past Sharir Coleslaw as he now
it's massive sideways run for Lanzi. Sconesy is directly on his gearbox.
Switch back as well and can't get it done. So Sharir doing a fantastic job defensively there to keep Jonathan Dunk behind him.
And you've got to say, Lanzi's really made a step up in recent weeks and months, because you wouldn't have thought he was in this Scornsy light work Ryan picture, but he certainly is, and his qualifying efforts are also showing that. It's pace as well. So Lanzi, big props to Lanzi, yet to get a win in Coleslaw Cup, but sorry, no, he had one last season. He had Hungary last season. So looking for his first of this season, I should say, as he defends to the inside. Probably didn't need to, defending a bit of air there.
Very aggressive. Yeah, very aggressive toe braking there from Lanzi, but it's worked for him so far. I'm sure Scornsy has a lot of experience that
Ryan
he's going to be able to utilise.
Closing down a 4-second gap to now 1 second in the space of one lap. Ironically, it was Lanzi winning for Ferrari in that Hungarian Grand Prix last season. As we have further yellow flags again at turn 8. Again, it looks like an Alpine coloured dot. And his teammate is about to come round and lap him, yeah.
Is he going to give Lanzi a bit of tactical DRS?
That would be a very teammate thing to do. Ooh, as Scornsy picked up a 3-second, he turned in far too early. I was on board with him and I could tell before it even made it to the apex. That was super unscornsy-like. Where is the robot we're used to seeing?
This is what I mean about this season, man.
He's got a pain in all his left diodes.
Someone's booted him up in safe mode. Slayerized and Ryan Rod's having a fight there as well. Ryan Rod's having to be patient at least for the time being. Slayerized outside of the DRS though from Jonathan Dunk, and then he does just creep back into it again in time for the detection, I think. Although he did go a little bit deep into the corner. Ryan Rod's will be okay. That's just lag. Cool. Ryan Rod's will be wanting to make this move.
Ryan's going to make a move, I think. Oh, was that? Okay, yeah, it is lag. Oh my goodness, what am I watching?
This is horrendous on Slayerized's car. This is, yeah, this is horrendous.
Is Slayer, where is Slayer? Okay, oh my god, I thought they were going to collide there.
San Francisco. Well, it's not in San Francisco, he's near San Francisco, I think.
Slayer almost slaying the...
insane. Someone slayed his router there.
The 7th place man now. Alright, we've got Smith Pell in the pits as well. Yeah, Ryan now right on the back of this fight. It's been raging on between Sharir and Jonathan Dunk.
Still behind Sharir. Sharir just will not let him go by.
Oh, this
epic Gandalf moment, and that is a silly dive bomb from Ryan Rods, and it doesn't work out for him. Just
the word that springs to mind there is unnecessary. He can do it here probably, but I don't know if I'd risk it. He needs to make these moves quickly, but
he's desperate to make
you don't want to lose a wing in the process.
He knows that he has to get a move on. Down the inside he goes there. Still not really alongside, but he's lucky that Jonathan Dunk doesn't turn in on him.
Yeah, Jonathan did the right thing by Ryan. Didn't need to be that nice to him, to be fair, but preserves his own race, I guess, at the same time as Lightwork finally makes his mandatory pit stop. And I believe he's the last to do so. Yep, 25 laps he spent on those tyres.
Yep. So as you were mentioning there, Scornsy and Lanzi side by side here. Scornsy might get him here though because he's going to have the DRS. Lanzi does not have much ERS to defend with. Lanzi's going to cover off the inside. Scornsy's going to go for the outside. Lanzi forces him to the outside, but doesn't push him off
Doesn't
track,
matter
most
though.
importantly.
He gets a massive
Scornsy's
traction
going to be
there.
able to keep his foot in there. Lanzi, though, is going to sweep around the outside.
Brilliant
He's going to retain
manoeuvre
that
there.
position.
1.01 car width
Coleslaw
there.
versus Ryan Rods. Sharia's strong defence continues as he keeps Ryan Rods behind for another corner at least. But here goes Ryan,
Ryan
with the grip advantage and
super
more
aggressive
contact
Ryan
there
right
as
now.
well. Ryan using Sharia as a little bit of a break there, it would seem. He should be able to catch up to Easy Rider Yuri pretty comfortably as well, and then he's going to have, what, 7 laps to gain 11 seconds on Scornsy.
I don't know what
this race might not be
side of the bed Ryan got out of, and you know who gave him the chili. He needs to go to the toilet or something. Like, so he's going super aggressively, as Lightwork did indeed choose softs, by the way. Sharia probably should have let him go, because now he's got pressure from behind, and he may have been able to tag along with the RS. As it seems now, he's not going to have it, but the car behind him certainly does.
So. I think the pace advantage would have been too much for Sharia, honestly, to be able to keep that with the.
Yeah, but maybe just one lap worth would have been enough to stay out of Jonathan
Duncan's bide, but
second.
Scornsy might be looking to get himself finally up into P1 here, but he's just not quite close enough.
Lanzi's tactics here are obviously to delay any pass Scornsy could make so that he can't get 3 seconds up the road should he have that much pace available, which is probably exactly what I'd do in Lanzi's situation.
Yeah, and you've also got to think as well, if they're going to play the team game at Ferrari, if Scornsy gets ahead, you could end up becoming the Mexican Minister of Defence.
Are they going to play the team game? Are they not direct rivals by the end of this championship? It's so hard to tell. Meanwhile, Scavney getting a nice view of this from behind, despite being a lap down. He's hoping for a safety car and both these guys pit so he can unlap himself and maybe fight for a few positions once he's back through.
He's making a pretty orthodox move there on VTAC as well at the hairpin.
Should say that Lightwork's looking for not only the hardest charger point, but possibly the fastest lap as well, with new softs coming towards the end of that lap. That would be competitive.
Purple second sector as well. He should get that pretty comfortably, honestly. Not many else. The other fast guys not really on the tyres that could grab it. The
moment. Flags for probably Smith Pell there.
Not Ada, it's the other one. It's Smith Pell.
Knuckles is going to take that position by the look of it. If not now, probably on the next DRS opportunity.
Like grabbing that fastest lap.
Indeed, he will be pressuring Ada by the end of the race potentially. Those guys both coming from the back of the field to inside the top 10, so nothing to scoff at there. Oh, big moment of sideways there from Scornsy. Catches it though, and Ryan's going to be on the back of Easy Rider Yoey very soon. We've got another move there. Jonathan Dunk must have got sideways there as Slayer's completely around. Recovers without losing his position, but A-Dub's going to be fairly close behind him very soon.
That's why they'll teleport into the pit straight a second.
True. He has been having some connection issues, but it seems to have rectified itself for now. Maybe a bit of a spike for some reason. 2 tenths now, the gap. 3 tenths actually, as Yoey enters the main straight with a Ferrari in tow.
Scornsy all over the back of Lanzi as well.
Yep, the more likely one to make the move though is his teammate. Ryan Rod's now back up into the podium positions. Has 12.2 seconds to find.
And Scornsy has to go for it here. He has the ERS advantage. He's tucked up behind. Looks to go to the outside and then switch to the inside perhaps, but Lanzi very well controlled down the brakes.
He's got to have slightly less downforce or something.
I feel like Scornsy will be able to make this move, but
I'm going to guess that Scornsy's got too much rear wing, because the man is understeering but can't make a move in a straight line. So he's got to have too much rear wing. A-Dub does make the move on Slayer.
Goes side by side as well. Slayer picking up some understeer mid-corner as well, not helping him out tremendously there. Scavney picking up a 3-second time penalty for his troubles. Not been a great race for Scavney.
No, really off the boil there, Scavney. Hopefully we see him back on form next week. A-Dub needs to make that move ASAP, because Lightwork is now bearing down on the two of these guys with much better conditioned tyres.
I think even with a predictive analysis degree, he wouldn't have foreseen finishing P17 here.
Yeah, he needs a
Not
couple of
great
more
there.
rows of Excel to extrapolate a good
The
result.
strangler. And here goes Scornsey to the outside of Lanzi. Can he hang it all the way around the outside?
Oh, it's a nice try, but I don't think it's going to
Lanzi
work.
comes back at him.
Where's the traction though? Where's the traction here?
Outside of turn 1.
The outside does look
to the
to have it,
outside of turn
but he's
3.
gone. Who's
Lanzi
the
gets a better
DRS?
exit, and Lanzi has the DRS. Lanzi has to fight this back now because Mystic Scornsey does have the overall pace.
Oh, he's wide. Oh, but no
Scornsey
traction
makes a
on the
mistake, but then
inside.
so does Lanzi. And
Scavney's just like, come on, mate, let's get. Wait, he lets him back through.
And then Scornsey must have got an illegal overtake.
Wow, that's heartbreaking. He finally got past and then had to give it back. But look at the gap back to third.
And Jonathan,
it was 12
Jonathan
seconds not so long ago.
In his fight with Sharia Coleslaw.
Oh, that's finally over, that fight. Sharia finally escaping the McLaren, as the luck of that team still resides in the toilet. But let's just say, 2 laps ago, we said 12 seconds was the gap between Ryan and Scornsey. It's almost halved. Can he possibly pull off a second miracle as we've got further yellow flags? I think it might be Slayer.
Again.
Yeah, light work is now on the back of Adab, by the way. And Adab is on the back of Jonathan Dunk.
Yeah, Jonathan Dunk.
Yeah, he's well out of the way. Let's both of them through.
Well.
Won't please Adab the slightest, because Adab will not have.
Tyres are just going off.
Adab will not have the assistance of DRS to defend here from light work. The championship leader has come from 18th to 7th. It's about to be 6th. Flashing light on the back signifies low ERS battery for Adab. That's around 50-60% there for light work as he sails past. Jonathan Duncan back leaves the session before retiring, which is not ideal. Is there time for light work to perhaps catch Sharia? Question mark. That'll be close. But what will be also close is this fight for the front. And Ryan, by the way, doesn't need to catch all 6 of those seconds to get second place. He only needs to catch 3 of them, because Scornsey does have 3 seconds of penalty. And talking of penalties, Easy Rider Yowie also has 3 seconds. And if Sharia can find 2 seconds on his teammate, might be looking at a P4 here. But it does look like Yowie has that gap sort of pegged at 5 seconds. As the second McLaren leaves... Oh, actually, he's already out of the race. That's fair enough. But Scornsey again can't stay with Lanzi in the last turn.
Away win from Ryan.
It does feel that way. We're looking forward to finding out whether he was
he's going to get P2
out of tyre. He's got 2 laps left to find 2.5 seconds. That is within the realms of possibility. There's also an outside chance of punctures for anyone on these hards. There's not many drivers on the hards that are going for 24-25 laps. There's only there's only 6. And some of those drivers that could have been in that scenario chose to pit off that strategy. So maybe there was some sort of question over whether they would make it to the end. As the Williams changed positions there for 9th and 10th. Scavney, meanwhile, has been right behind these lead 2 for quite a while and has not been able to unlap himself. Unfortunate for him, but he runs around in 17th. Actually only 8 seconds off Tweezer here, who will be close to being lapped at some point.
Man's even just a little bit wide of the racing line. Going to put himself under a little bit more pressure.
Yeah, look at the gap though. Ryan Rods is now 3.5. That is going to happen. Ryan Rods is going to catch Scornsey's penalty.
Yeah, more than likely, but...
Got another AlphaTauri in trouble. It's Slayer losing his top 10 position. VTech now enters that 10th place as Knuckles overtakes Nicky. Nicky is also overtaken by Tweezer potentially there. Yep. And that battle is just ahead. So I think Nicky had some issues very recently there. We're on the last lap. There'll be another opportunity here for Scornsey to overtake Lanzi, but I don't think it'll matter.
Yeah. See Ryan Rod's in the distance there as well.
Yeah, he's within that 3 seconds now.
3 second time penalty, so he is a net P2, but I think Lanzi is going to be very safe to run this one to the finish, and you're going to get your prediction right, it would seem, touch wood. As long as no calamity occurs for Lanzi, he makes it through that right-hander. Most importantly.
Indeed, the Dutch going to be in the final 8 in the World Cup, but it looks like top 1 for the Dutch in this race. The only Dutchman actually on the grid this week. No Cornet or TTV Dutchman to speak of. Only one braking zone to go for him. It's only a light one as well.
And Nicky
Flicks the
gets
Alpine
Tweezer
through.
around the outside as well. Great move.
And we've got 2 Alpines and 2 Ferraris within not such a big distance here. One is a lap down though. One has a penalty. Lanzi wins for the first time this season. Second win in the Coleslaw Cup history. Ryan does take second in the end. Still feels like he may have thrown away a win. Scornsy with a podium. Easy Rider Yowie with a great drive to 4th. His teammate now crosses in 5th with light work only 6/10 back. A-Dub finds himself 7th. 6th and 7th from those guys who started 18th and 19th. Not so bad. Dace and Shelley now in the Williams, the next 2 to cross the line.
Penalty gonna drop him all the way
He's
to
got
P10, I think.
multiple penalties. So VTEC is going to be looking to gain a position here, right at the death.
I think Slayer's just going to be a little bit too far back to gain it, and he has a puncture. Slayer eyes on the front left.
He does indeed. So those
Didn't even
hards
notice.
were close to puncture range. Probably why Ryan bailed off that strategy early. Does make sense. Jonathan Dunk was actually, well, he wasn't connected by the end of the race, so I'm not sure that would have counted. Although maybe he did enough of the race to count. Smith Fell now crosses the line in the 13th position with Knuckles and Nicky very close to Knuckles actually.
Yeah,
Is there an
Knuckles
opportunity
gonna
here?
drop
He's going to have DRS for
the
about 2
position.
meters.
Knuckles going to drop the position anyway with the penalty applied.
Nicky only lost
Tweezer
positions earlier
finishing
because
P16.
he pitted. He pitted to go for maybe a fastest lap attempt, but could not beat his teammate's time. I think Lightwork kept that by the end. And there is driver of the day for the Aston Martin championship leader. And I'm going to say he's still the championship leader, I think. But Ryan Rods will be right on him, and Lanzi will have closed the gap on both of them, of course. Yeah. So, it's interesting. That is interesting. The top 3 in the championship finished in reverse order. Not in the top 3, but in reverse order of the 3 of them. Here is a gritty for the Dutchman. 2 Ferrari drivers flanking him on the podium. Well done to all of them. We'll get those guys in here for a quick chat as well.
Good moves.
I shall ping them in the chat, and if you could add them, that would be very helpful.
Let's see. GSR Ryan Rods.
Alright, let's run down this field once again. It is Dutch delight for Lanzi winning in Portugal here, with Ryan Rods coming back to P2 after an interesting strategy, the highest driver on a 2-stop. Then we've got Scornsy on the podium as well. Easy Rider Yowie and Shreya bringing Red Bull home in 4th and 5th. Lightwork coming from 18th to 6th, and the same number of positions gained by A-Dub, 19th to 7th, but I don't think he'll get that point, because not only was he not the highest of them, he was also without a valid lap time in qualifying. Fastest lap point also goes to the championship leader. Then it's Shelley, VTEC, Dace in the top 10, Slayer, Dunk, Smithville, Nicky, Knuckles, Tweezer and Scavney finishing the race, with Dusty and Galloway DNFing. Alright.
Good evening.
Hello.
Goedenavond.
So I didn't see who joined. Who's in here? Lanzi and...
We've got Ryan Rods and
Ryan.
Lanzi.
Okay, Ryan, you
start with
said...
Ryan.
Yeah, he said, can we make it quick? So we'll start with the second place man. Of course, coming off 2 consecutive wins prior to this, and pole position. So Ryan, we noticed you were the quickest driver. You were on a 2-stop though. What was the reasoning behind that? I'm guessing you were worried about a potential puncture on those hards.
Yes, absolutely. I noticed my tire wear was quite high, and the remaining laps were too much. So I decided to box, and I thought everyone would hit like a lap later than me, but apparently that was not the case. And I think everyone went over 75% tire wear, so it means they got pretty lucky. They didn't get a puncture, but I think what I did is the right call, and I'm happy with my decision.
Absolutely, it's a championship contender's call really to do that, and I mean the pace was there. I mean you don't sound too disappointed, so I guess that's all right by your standards. So now you've had 4 races out of 5 that you've competed in, and you're probably still second in the championship. Do you feel like you're going to make a serious charge for both the drivers and teams championship? I imagine you and Scornsey looking to nail down Ferrari a second title there.
Yes, of course. It's looking like um, driver championship looks good. The constructors looks good. So yeah, just gotta keep working towards that goal. Just at the end of the year, just see if we made it.
All right. Will, do you have anything for Ryan before he jets off?
No, I'll let him get off. He's in a rush as well, so.
All right. Congratulations
Congratulations.
on the P2 there. Yeah, another podium. Very impressive.
Yeah.
Alright, thank you. Good night.
Good night.
No.
All right. Well, we'll go to Ryan's teammate now, Scornsey, with a well, uncharacteristic race. Let's put it that way. Scornsey, we saw you understeering a hell of a lot at the last turn. Was there perhaps a setup change that you might like to make if this was run again, or what was up with that?
Oh, definitely. I literally jumped on, put together something, and went. I did absolutely zero practice for this race. I wasn't even entirely sure that I was gonna make it today, to be honest. So I wasn't even really like practicing or whatever. And yeah, definitely some changes to be made in the future next time I race here for sure. Was not feeling comfortable at all.
And did you also have a bit more rear wing perhaps than, or at least a lot more downforce than you would have wanted because you seem to be unable to pass in a straight line?
It was a mixture of a couple things. I mean, I was running 28, 20
28,
wings.
20. Oh,
What I
okay.
was running. So, I mean, it was okay. It's just that I don't know. There's a couple changes that I need to make.
All right.
But
And
I don't know. Straight line speed, it wasn't horrible, but just yeah, I didn't really get anything because I kept messing up out of that final corner.
yeah, we could see that
So
you had massive understeer through there, and it must have been very
yeah,
frustrating.
yeah, it was severely frustrating because every time I tried to line up a move, down the main straight, it was just like very, very difficult because the moment that I would get close enough, it was already too late. So, yeah.
One thing we also noted was that you're now teammates with Ryan Rod's longtime rival, and we know how similar you guys are in pace. And I thought I brought this up in the formation lap. What happens if there's a safety car or changeable weather when you guys are right with each other? And of course it happened. We saw stacking immediately in your first race as teammates. Are you worried about this happening many times throughout the season? Or what are your thoughts behind that? And are you communicating with him at the time and understanding that this is a possibility and working around it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when it comes to like scheduled pit stops or like strategy, whatnot, like yeah, we're communicating, but in the heat of the moment, if like today's race, if there's a safety car and we both have to double stack, then obviously whoever's behind is just, they just have to pay for it. It's that simple, unfortunately. But I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It'll be fun. Looking forward to having a pretty intense rivalry in the team with him, and also, trying to bring Ferrari a second title, I guess, for the constructors.
Absolutely. Well, you're well on your way to doing both those things, and hopefully we talk to you again next week, perhaps next time with a preparation that's more befitting of your usual pace.
Hmm.
But nonetheless, when you're off song, still on the podium, congratulations on P3.
Yeah, thanks, and massive congrats to Lancey on that drive. Very good battle with him. That was pretty fun. Even though it was frustrating driving the car the way that it was handling, it was very, very, very fun going wheel to wheel with him, and chasing him down and all that. So massive congrats to him.
Thank you, mate. Likewise. Very much enjoyed that one.
All right, we're going to move on to Lanzi now, our race winner. Second win in his Coleslaw Cup career. Actually won a race for Ferrari last season in the Hungarian Grand Prix. But first race win of this season, bringing yourself into the championship hunt there, Lanzi. How do you feel about that?
Yes.
And, well, let's just start with how you feel about the race.
Well, happy, of course. It's not every day you can get a victory with Ryan and Swansea on the grid, so it feels very good to get one.
So were you at all worried about having to make another pit stop? I know that there were some drivers unable to get the hards from that safety car all the way to the end. Were you anywhere close to a puncture?
I was on 7, I think 77. So I
Oh,
was
okay.
definitely in the punctured territory. But when the safety car came out, I thought by myself I'll go to softs at the end. When Ryan pitted for mediums earlier, that actually went out of the window because I would never catch back up to him. So I just tried to tough it out. I had not really that much to lose. And so just from there on, it was just defending every lap, hoping to get the gap into turn 1, and I managed to do it. Had some good battles, but this
And
time
defending quite hard, I would say, from Swansea, which made sense. But then he got a penalty, a 3-second penalty. So was there any idea in the back of your head, maybe I should let this guy go? I might sort of tack onto the back of him with DRS and sort of having pull me away from, for example, Ryan Rods, who may have been catching up quite fast, as you did see by the end of the race.
Yeah. Well, I thought about it, but I know Portimao is known for giving out some wonky warnings, like double warnings and stuff. So I wasn't sure if it was a legitimate penalty, because Swansea is not one for picking up that much penalties. So I thought it would just be better to stay in front and leave no doubt than that get disappointed afterwards.
Good thinking. Very level-headed driver, Lanzi is, ladies and gentlemen. Your race winner here in round 5. And also a driver that's been improving just with every passing week. And I'd say look out for this man to be winning a lot more races come the end of the season. Looks like Will has left us, and as have the other podium drivers this week. Lanzi, any comments to leave the chat with here?
Make sure to tune in next week.
Of course.
And thank you for watching. I hope Jacko and Will have entertained you guys.
Yeah, I think we have, with various shenanigans, as have all the drivers on track with quite a lot of action, let's put it that way. Next week is, of course, Imola, which is a fascinating race each time. So yeah, join us then on the 12th of the 12th. Not that that really matters. And we'll see Lanzi then as well, the resident Alpine master. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it has been Elmer Jacko here on comms. Will was with us before, but he left. See you guys next time.